Hello, I'm Dr. Richard Tandy, a microbiologist from the Center of Disease Control. As you know, our country, along with the rest of the world, is currently facing an unprecedented challenge, the coronavirus. Countries around the globe are fighting to keep their people safe and to flatten the curve of new infections and deaths. And while precautions like social distancing and mask wearing are beginning to turn the tide in the fight against this pandemic, quite frankly, it's not enough. Countries cannot begin to fully reopen their economies until a tested and effective vaccine has been discovered. Well, I have some good news. I, along with my esteemed colleague Dr. Jameson, have been working tirelessly to once and for all discover this vaccine. For 3 whole weeks, Dr. Jameson and I have been working very closely in this laboratory and have vowed not to rest until a proven vaccine is ready for mass distribution. Would you like to say a few words, Dr. Jameson?
Well, I just wanted to say that I am very happy to be here. There's no one that I would rather be working this closely with.
I couldn't agree more, Doctor. Well, I think it'd be productive now for us to tell you at home a little about our process of formulating this vaccine. As you can see, the two of us have been surrounded by tubes filled with fluid. Now, this might not look like much to the naked eye, but the answer to what can combat COVID-19 lies in the liquids in these here tubes.
That's indeed correct. For the past few weeks, Dr. Tandy and I have been joined at the hip in doing nothing but working with tubes filled with fluid.
That's absolutely accurate. Dr. Jameson and I have been working day and night, mostly nights, working with these tubes. At first we began merely working on our own tubes, but that quickly graduated to more collaborative work. Soon we began looking at each other's tubes, holding each other's tubes, and yes, eventually exchanging fluid between our tubes.
It is very hard work.
Very hard.
Very hard work, but essential. I would rather be nowhere on earth than right here, mixing fluids with my esteemed colleague.
Absolutely. The thought of me leaving this laboratory and going home to my wife and kids, quite frankly, makes me want to kill myself. My only interest going forward is staying locked in this soundproof room with no windows, mixing liquids with Dr. Jameson.
It's the American thing to do.
Now I know what some of you at home might be thinking. How does this work?
The virus.
Yes, the virus. Well, let us show you. Let's say this represents the membrane of the virus. Now the membrane's kind of just minding its own business until this guy comes along. This guy represents the S, E, and N proteins. Now by themselves, they're not really causing any trouble. But once the two connect, that's when things really start taking off.
At first we were confused, even scared by this, but as time went on, we started to realize that it was actually quite satisfying. I would even go as far as to say beautiful.
That's the thing about science. At first you might be hesitant, but with some coaxing you end up thinking, well, where was this my whole life? Even though the two of us have made significant progress, the road ahead is still very long and difficult.
The final product that we're striving for is a quick injection in the skin that would then introduce the vaccine into the patient's immune system. To get there requires countless tests and injections until we can find the correct vaccine.
That's right, and that's why Dr. Jameson and I have been testing profusely. Yes, over the past few weeks, the two of us have been penetrating and filling each other up with our vaccines, just all day and all night, inserting our needles into one another and releasing gallons of liquid science into each other's bodies. We must have done this dozens, if not hundreds of times.
But like all worthy endeavors, we did eventually encounter a roadblock. See, Dr. Tandy's needle was too small and thus unsatisfactory for our tests. His nearly microscopic needle was worthless as it began to falter under pressure and even at one point nearly snap in half. To be frank, I even got a bit irritated for a bit there.
This all sounds quite alarming, but I can assure you, the size of my tiny needle will not derail this process. I might even hypothesize that this could be a blessing in disguise, and that small stature can discover just as much, if not more, than a larger needle.
It's possible.
So what I want all of you at home to take away from this very important message is this. Don't panic. We are in uncharted territory, and I admit, it can be frightening. But the science is on our side. The virus is tough, but we are tougher. We have never faltered in the face of a challenge, and together, we will get through this. So in conclusion, I want to address all you young kids out there who might be worried or confused, and ask you all to please close your eyes. And just imagine Dr. Jameson and I grabbing each other's tubes, thrusting our little needles into each other, and coming together to give you all a shot of safety and care. Doesn't that make you feel better? Until next time, God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.